I believe the team are really ready for what this year brings. Very much prepared to what the cryptosphere has to offer for this 2025 year. The year we have been talking about with regards to the bull run. So I guess guys are ready. I know I've been getting a lot of messages through my inbox. People really are so skeptical. I don't know whether I should call it skeptical, or they're so eager to have an experience of what the bull run really looks like. They want to have a feel of what the bull run is like. I think because I do believe most people had not yet experienced the bull run, so they really can't even imagine the picture of how the year is going to be, or what the bull run looks like, especially when you're finally in it. For those who experienced it in 2021, which I happen to be one, and I believe Leader Julius as well, he was part of that bull run of 2021. We just bumped into it. Personally, that was the year I really took crypto very seriously, 2021, when I was doing my little stuff before I'd actually was involved in RoyalQ, before Leader Julius shared with me about RoyalQ. I was just there doing little things about crypto, but when I joined RoyalQ, that's when I really had a real feel of what the bull run is like. And that year was crazy. And little did I know that there would come a time where we'll have a season where the market is going to go down. And that was the point when the market started going down, where very many people had to quit the business. Because, truth be told, not very many people had knowledge about crypto trading and the general trend movement. Most of the people just thought that the way they were making profit in 2021 would be all the way. The ones who join crypto, every day is business as usual. Just make money. You enter now, within the next 2 minutes you're out 5%. Enter now, within the next 30 minutes you're in 10%, and like, wow. So people really made a lot of money. They didn't imagine that we are going to have some 3 years of, especially 2 years of serious downward movement of the market, where people will experience, some people actually had to experience over 90% in floating loss. And they just had to say no, because they didn't know the aspect of the the wallet management. And because by then most people were so much fond of the master traders, they were doing a lot of copy trading in RoyalQ. And by then we had some serious leaders. I don't know whether they still exist or not. Leader Julius, I don't know whether you recall some of the leaders. Some of those JD Winner, those were the people of the time.
Yeah, JB Winner. There was another guy I invited on one of the calls, and he was a master trader. I have his number, and he told me that this is the only way to go. I even called him to one of my Zooms so that he can share his strategy. And then we had a guy called introduced by our brand upline, who introduced a certain guy and said this is the only strategy that looks in the depth of the market. It was a lot of stories.
I remember the 80-20, something like that. But they did make money anyway, just because we had really not grasped the real zeal of what happens in the market. But now that I think after that, actually, the bull run played a very big role, because it really had to force us into seeing how better to help the team, because most people are just sinking to strategies, and they find themselves going to serious floating loss. I'm like, whoa. And that was the time very many people had to, first of all, quit RoyalQ. And if I told the others, they just had to come back after realizing that there were actually a stable system that the crypto ambassador had already set in place. Then they said, oh, if it is like that, then that's what, and I have about 3 of them who came back. I have 3 friends who came back after realizing that, okay, things are actually normalized and there was a clear strategy that would help someone make little but consistent money in the course of that bearish season. But I'm glad we are here. We are here. The cycle is finally back. So let's see what this year looks like. Okay. Just like I said, a happy new year to everyone. I think let's dive straight into our lesson for today. I believe for those who attended the previous class, where I happened to be the teacher then, we had looked at a couple of things. We had built a background on what we were going to cover, and we had stopped at the trend line, and we are done with the horizontal trend line. And now we are going to go to our next class of looking at how you can draw and monitor a market that is on a downtrend. Not only draw and monitor a market, but also in the meanwhile, look out for opportunities where you can be trading such a coin, even if it is on a downtrend, because that concept is built on the fact that our robot has been designed to equally buy the dips. And in the process of buying the dips, there comes a moment where the market is on a dip, but then trade opportunities come in, okay? Where, for example, if the robot had already bought like 7 margin calls before reversing, because of the retracement that happens even in the course of the downtrend, sometimes opportunity comes and would want to make some profit in the course of the little retracement, even in the course of the downtrend. So what happens is understanding some of this aspect of monitoring a downtrend helps you to open the next margin call, which in this case would be the 8th call, measure your take profit percentage and set it on the sub take profit section for the 8th call, so that when the robot buys that level, it is able to sell in the course of the retracement. And then you wait for the next movement again and then open another margin call. So this is a scenario where you'll be doing this trading intentionally. You'll be allowing your robot or setting your robot to do what you exactly want intentionally, not just opening up margin calls anyhow, or just, opening up without knowing what is going to happen to the market then. So that is very important. That's why we have to understand this very well. Then also, it will help you in actually identifying the possible reversal points, so that in case you wanted to do some replenishment, especially the manual replenishment, for those who love the manual replenishment, maybe you have your reserve capital and the market has gone now, it has dipped by around 20%, and you would want to cut off the percentage, say probably by a half. So depending on the capital you had as a reserve, you can inject in that particular amount of capital at a point you've really analyzed and seen that the market is on the verge of reversing and beginning to have an uptrend. That is when you can allow the robot buy in with more of that capital, buy in more coins with that specific amount of capital that you had reserved, so that you can, reduce the floating percentage. Or, if it were, for example, at 20%, and let's say, for instance, you had like let's say $100 in it, and then you had a reserve of like 200. That, by doing the manual replenishment with the $200, is going to cut off the floating loss by 10%. So by 50%. So out of the 20%, not 20%, not by half, it is going to reduce it to almost a quarter. Meaning, if it were $100 in the market, and then you inject in $100 in terms of the replenishment, the percentage will reduce from 20 to 10. Now imagine again you have an extra 100, possibly to reduce to about -5. So from -20 all the way to -5. That means you would have significantly reduce the floating loss. Now, the effect that results into the reduction of the floating loss is as a result of you buying more of the coin and then moving the average price closer to the previous price, okay? Moving the average price closer to the current price so that eventually, if the markets begin moving in your favor, you are able to get out of the market faster than someone who would just be waiting for the 10%, for the 20% rise before they see themselves getting profit. So that is what you're going to look at. That is just the background I wanted you to know why it is very significant for you to, sometimes understand your market or the market of the coin you're trading by drawing this trend line to monitor through the downtrend as you identify those opportunities, the reverse opportunities, and then some trade entry opportunities, even when it is on continuing to move down. So you are going to allow me share my screen, and then we do this practically. Today we shall do less of the theory, and I may not use the slide, okay? You may not use the slide. I will just do that practically. Okay. So are we ready? Are we ready to dive in? Are we ready to dive in? If you're just ready to dive in, let me see a 1 on the chart. If you're really eager and ready to dive in, let me see a 1 in the chat. Okay. Yeah, it is very important sometimes to do this checkup. Yeah, because it makes you know whether you are together with the people or you've left the members behind. Okay. So let me share my screen. And all right. Okay. So let me just open one coin and do this. Okay, so let me. All right. So let me just pick a point here before I can go there. So let me just try to do this. So normally, ladies and gentlemen, what I want us to know is this. When you're drawing these trend lines, it's very, very important. It's very, very important for you to know some of the key things to do. Okay, the key things you're supposed to do and those that you may not have to do for you to come out with an effective trend line. Now, this trend line, when you want to draw a trend line to monitor a downtrend, you can do it in 2 ways. Either you can use a single line, okay? A single line. For example, if you had, let's assume that the market price is on this pattern of movement. So it is just all the way going down. Okay. So the key things you need to note for you to identify, for you to draw these lines effectively, you need to first of all begin by identifying the trend. You really need to ensure that the market is on a downtrend. And how do you tell that the market is on a downtrend? The key features that shows that the market is on a downtrend is when you are able to identify this, what we call the lower highs and then lower lows. As long as you're able to identify this, then like 2 or 3, you would be in position to tell that the market price is on a downtrend. But as you're doing that, you need to do that in a higher time frame. Yeah. For example, if you're 15 minutes time frame trader, then you should be doing that in 1 hour. If you like trading within an hour, then you need to do your analysis in the 4 hours time frame. Why? Because when you do it on the very same time frame, sometimes the same time frame may also work, but sometimes it doesn't give you the real picture. It doesn't give you a proper picture of the market, okay? Because why? At some point, there's what we call a false breakout. Sometimes the breakouts that you may see in a lower time frame as if they are real, but before you know it, it will be a fake breakout. Now, if it was the same time frame you were analyzed and you were trading in, then you're going to experience a scenario where the market may quickly go against you before you know it, okay? So sometimes it is good to have a bigger picture of what is going to happen in the entire bigger period before going to look out for those opportunities, these entry opportunities in a lower time frame, okay? Yeah, so just like sometimes back we said, it is also good to draw this trend line, the support and resistance in a bigger time frame before you can narrow down to smaller time frame. So the first thing you need to do is identify the trend. Ensure that really the trend is on a downward movement. And the key features that tells that a market is on a downward movement or is on a downtrend are these two, the lower highs and then the lower lows. How do you tell? How do you identify these lower highs and lower low? You only identify the lower highs and lower low when there is a break of structure, when there's a progressive break of structure, okay? A break of structure below a support, meaning you have to identify a point where the market price comes and react by breaking below that particular support. Then you will say, okay, a breakout has happened below that support. And once a breakout happens below a support, it then ceases to be a support. In the next movement, as the market price is retracing in the course of the downtrend, it will now turn into a resistance. Now, that is what we're going to experience. So if this happens, then this is what I mean, that a break of structure happens. For example, if this was our support, okay, this is our support line. Use a different color. That is our support. So literally meaning that the market price would have to drop. Once it drops, like we see here, and then it gets supported, okay? It reacts by being supported. Then in the next movement, it should come and break below the support. Once it breaks below the support like it has done here, it is going to encounter a support in the lower level, okay? It will have another support. It will experience another support somewhere below the previous support. Now, if that happens, that means you will have something like this, that at this point, this will be the new support, okay? This will be the new support line. Now, if that is the new support line, and should it successfully support this price, it means that in an attempt of the market to correct itself, in an attempt of market correction, you're going to have a retracement, yeah? So let's assume this is the first support, this is the second support. Now the market price has broken below the first support and it encountered a support in this other S2 or support 2. So on reversal, it is going to have a retracement, but this retracement is most likely going to happen up to the first support that was previously broken, which in this case, because it was broken, it now ceases to be support, but rather turn into a resistance. Now, this market price has to drop, then retraces back to retest the previous support, which now is a resistance, before it can gain momentum to come and break the support 2. Once it breaks the support 2 successfully, it will have to, by all means, encounter another support 3, for as long as it is in the course of what? A downward movement. So progressive break of structure results into formation of what we call the lower highs and lower low, with the lower low being this part here, where the price was supported, and the lower highs being this point here, where the price retested the previous support, okay? Where the previous support was retested becomes the lower high. So when you see progressive formation of lower highs, it qualifies that trend to be a downtrend. And it should be 2 or 3 or even more. That should give you an insight that the market price is on a downtrend. Okay? I hope you have understood how the lower highs and lower lows comes about. Yeah? That is the first thing that should help you identify a trend, which is a downtrend. Okay? Yeah, so that is that. So if you see those progressive break of structure below the support, the various supports, then you say the trend is on a downward movement. Now, the next thing is, after identifying your trend, you're going to identify your key lower highs. What do you mean by the key lower highs? Those points where the price retested the previous supports after breaking below them. Like here, there was a break of structure below the support, and then the next support was this point. Then there was a retracement, and this became our lower high, right? Then in the next movement, there was a break of structure below this support, and then there was a new support. Then in an attempt to retrace, we registered another lower high, right? Just like it is here, we also have our low high. Now, what you're going to do, you will have to connect 2 or 3 or more of these lower highs together. You will draw a line, yeah, just to connect the lower highs together, okay? So that is what you do. When you connect any of the 2 or 3 lower highs, then you will have to extend it to the future. What do you mean to the future? Because now you are basing on what happened previously. You want to see if the same thing that happened previously will happen in the future, because you're predicting what is most likely going to happen in the future, all right? You want to have a picture of what is most likely going to happen. You're not certain, but at least it is giving you a probability of what is most likely going to happen in the future. So you have to, upon connecting these lower highs, you have to extend the line. You have to completely pull it to the future, all right? So that you can monitor through how price will be reacting within this trend line you've drawn, okay? So that is what you do. So this is simply what you would do. So you pick your line, you connect the different lower highs like that. Then you extend it to the future like I have done, right? Now, you need to also know this, that in the process of you connecting these lower highs, you are most likely going to come across some lower highs that may slightly go above the others, or may come and just stop slightly below the trend line. Like in this case, for example, you may have a scenario like this. This is our key lower high, right? This is our key lower high. But we may have a scenario where the market, we may have a scenario where we may have some mini, something like that. You have this, then you have other scenario where it slightly goes above, something like that. What you should be paying much interest in, taking much interest in, it should be just identify the key. It is okay. Even if the trend line does not touch all the lower highs, just identify those key ones, those ones which are most important, those ones which you think would bring out what you really want to, predict for the future. That's the point you're going to connect. If there are some 2 or 1 point that may go slightly above, or there's a lower high that may go slightly above your line, it's okay. If there are some that may fall slightly below the trend line, it is okay. For as long as some 2 or 3 or 4 touches exactly the way you wanted it, it is still okay. Okay, so you don't have to force it. Just draw it without being subjective. Just be objective. Okay. So when you draw that, now this one now becomes our resistance line, because the price will be trading below it, right? Because you see the price comes on touching it, price reacts to it by rejecting it. There's a reaction at that point by the market price rejecting. So it comes down, and then there's another rejection at this point like that. So progressive rejection qualifies our line to be a resistance line. Okay, that is it. So you would have drawn a resistance line. Now, why would this resistance line be very important? Because you want to identify, you want to see if at all there will come an opportunity where the price is going to break the resistance, because that is what you're looking out for, a breakout. Okay, you want to see if there will come a time where the price is going to break above the resistance. And once it breaks above the resistance, you want to be very certain whether it is not a fake breakout. Okay, now for it not to be qualified as a fake breakout, it simply means that the price has to begin rising from below the resistance line. Okay, it has to begin rising from below, and then it has to close above that resistance. At this point, we shall call it a breakout. But let's confirm that it is a true breakout. That means another candle has to open still above the resistance and close above that resistance. Sometimes it may open above, then even dips below, but finally then closes above. It is still okay. We are just looking out for a confirmation. There has to have a candle. Okay, there has to be a candle that is going to open above. After the breakout, it should open above the resistance and it should close above the resistance. Okay, yeah, so a breakout candle should be there. Then there should be a confirmation candle, which can be either that one that opens above and closes above, or the other one that opens above and dips slightly below, but then later closes above, right? That will help us have a confirmation. Now, remember, we are just using the candle, but sometimes you do use a combination of, of tools. You may also include an indicator. You may want to have a view on what the other indicator are saying with regards to what is happening. If this point here is telling you that there's a confirmation, that it is a true breakout, is it the same thing happening with indicators below maybe? Or some other indicator that you may want to use? Is it indicating, for example, if it is the stochastic RSI, is it making sense? Is there a point of a crossover that has happened? Not just any crossover, but a crossover where the moving average, the exact moving average, the signal moving average has crossed over the other to indicate an uptrend. Is it there? That is what you use just to help you, to back up your analysis. Yeah, but that is it. When you're basing on the candle, on the resistance line or the trend line, for a breakout to happen, there has to be a candle that should open from below, close above, then a confirmation candle should open above and close above, or open above, dip slightly below, but then finally close above. Then you will say, okay, this seems to be a true breakout, but the confirmation should further come in by you incorporating other tools, just to give you the confidence. Okay, so that's why we draw this. Now you can draw this as a single line, as I said, but you can as well use two lines. You can also establish a support so that you can finally have what we call a channel. Okay, and this channel, most of the times you find other people calling it the descending channel. Descending channel. You don't want to just call it a channel, you can call it a descending channel, meaning a channel that is on a downward movement. It's still okay. The most important thing is that it is a channel that you have drawn to monitor through a trend that is on a downward movement. That is the most important. Okay. Now, to do that, to draw a channel, you begin by establishing the resistance, just like we have said. Okay. You follow the process that we have said. Then this time here now, to draw your support, you're going to identify the lower lows, the key one also. Okay. Like in this case, we shall also pick any 3 or more, and then we connect. At the end of it all, when we do that, we are going to have what we call a channel, a parallel channel. A parallel channel. Now we can have something like that. We shall have what we call a parallel channel or a descending channel. Okay? So this way, after drawing this channel like this, it is going to give you this opportunity. Number one, it will help you identify. It will help you identify trade entry opportunity. That is the first thing. You will be identifying trade entry opportunities in the course of this downward movement. And where do you find these trade entry opportunities? There are only 2 scenarios. One, trade entry opportunity presents themselves in 2 areas. One, at a support level, and 2, when a breakout has happened above the resistance. Okay? At a support level, trade entry opportunity comes when the price breaks below the structure and then finds a support. Then it begins reversing. Retracing, not reversing, but retracing. So you only enter at a retracement, because once the market price drops and then it encounters a support at some level, it has to retrace to gain momentum, right? To retrace, to stabilize the market. Then the next movement will be in an attempt to come and break the previous support that prevented it from continuing to go down. Okay, it will have to this time come and break it. So this momentum that was built as a result of this retracement, upon resistance, it is going to come and break the previous support. Okay, same applies to here. If it encounters another support here, it will have to rise a little, a term we call retracement. Then upon being resisted, this momentum is going to build to come and break this support. Okay, so now trade entry opportunity present themselves when the market price is supported. So meaning you enter at any point at the support level and then take profit to this resistance. Yeah, we're going to see that. Then the next, you wait for the next movement. Once it is supported and then you see a sign of retracement, you again enter and take profit to this line, the resistance line. So you can do that continuously or repeatedly. You enter from a support, take profit to the resistance. Enter support, take profit to the resistance. Okay? That is one. So it helps you in identifying the first entry opportunity point. The second trade entry opportunity presents itself when the breakout happens, when a candle opens from below, closes above, a confirmation is, you have a confirmation candle there, then you can enter at any point, somewhere there, take profit. You get that? So because there, the market will be now on a reversal and definitely, will be moving on an uptrend. Okay? So that is what happens. So the first entry opportunity is here. The second entry opportunity comes in when a breakout has happened. Now, that is the first thing, why a channel is very important. The second thing is the channel will be key also and very important because it helps you in identifying the exit points. Okay? Like I already told you, that at any point you enter the market, you need to use this trend line, which is our resistance, as your target exit point. Okay? You don't have to take anything above that point. Don't take profit above it. Okay? Just take all profits either exactly stopping at that line or somewhere closer to the line, which we normally say 3/4. Even if it is only 1%, that is worth it. That is worth it. Even if it's only 0.5, if you see that as something, yeah, you can take that profit. Okay? Depending on the capital that you would have used there. But the most important thing is you're taking advantage of those small market movement. Yeah. So that is it. So it helps you identify that, trade entry opportunities, and then 2, it helps you identify trade exit points. Okay. And 3, just like I also said, it also helps you in monitoring, the trend. It helps you, paint a picture of what is most likely going to see, because you'll be monitoring how the market price is reacting within your channel. So you will continue monitoring this for as long as the market price is on a downtrend. You will continuously monitor, until those opportunities present themselves, the trade entry opportunities, which can either happen here or when a breakout has happened. Okay. The fourth thing is that monitoring a downtrend can also help you identify, it helps you in identifying whether the trend has come to an end or it is still continuing, right? And for you to know that the trend has come to an end is when the price comes out of the channel, okay? And either begin trading above the channel or finally you have that kind of movement. Because once it comes out of the channel and begins trading above, it means at any point, soon the price will begin having that upward movement. So sometimes once the breakout happens, it just happens and then the market continues for a small while above the channel. It continues going down, but above that channel. Then it finally makes a reversal. But sometimes also, it can just break out, then there's a retest, and it goes straight away into an uptrend. So those are the 2 scenarios. But you drawing this will help you come clear of what is most likely going to happen. Because with this channel here, you can tell whether the price has broken above and it is trading above the channel, or it has broken above and it is ready to really move on an uptrend. So that would be a clear reversal. Okay, so let's try to do that. Practical. Excuse me. All right. So I hope I made some sense. Does it make sense? Has it made some sense? Has it made some sense, please? Go ahead and share. Okay. So, okay. All right. So, guys, okay. So that's okay. Let's now go and do it practically. Let's go and see our chart. Let's go and view our chart, and then we see how we can draw that practically on a chart. Okay. Show us practically. It's okay. Relax, huh? just 1 minute, guys. Just 1 minute. All right. So, thanks for the patience, please. This one is saying also, wouldn't it take a long time to have all this info? By the time you decide the coin has reached its breaking point and it has already dropped. No. You see, let me even share my screen. You see, when you're doing analysis, you don't have to do because you want to enter the market. Sometimes you draw this earlier. You draw this earlier. You draw this really very early. For example, okay, like for example, let me just show you this. I hope you guys can see my screen. You see this channel? I've been monitoring this trade and I've been trading this coin for some time. But this is a trend line that I've drawn some time back. Actually, I drew last year, I would say. It's last year that I drew this line. Okay? Around, December, I think. I drew this last year. And I've drawn this because I am monitoring this trend, this coin. I want to see how far it is going to go in terms of the market price rise, right? And I don't care how it is behaving. at least I want to just monitor through and see how the market price is faring. Because in the process, I am actually doing two things. I am looking out for trade entry opportunities, like you can see here, severally. My trade entry opportunities are very many here, okay? You know, entering at this point here, these are all beautiful entry points. You see them? They are all beautiful entry points. And you see? See that movement? So now the next movement that I'm waiting for is the big one. And I've marked it there. If you can see, 22%. I'm saying I am certain that once a breakout happens above this point, then my next movement should be a 20%. It's something you do in advance, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to do it there because you now want to enter the market and say, let me analyze. Let me analyze. That's the mistake most people make. Sometimes when you see some of us dropping this signal, it doesn't mean that we've just analyzed the market then. Okay? We do that in advance. There's some of the things we do in advance. And then through the confirmation of what our eyes will see, after having done these things sometimes back, it can help us drop signals accordingly. Though sometimes we add in a few things, but we drop the signal based on what we had already prepared for previously. Like in this case, if I drop a signal on XVG, I would have dropped it because I would have identified a trade entry opportunity. Okay? Now, like this, what is happening here? You know, I can go ahead and begin now doing the nitty-gritty of an analysis on this coin. Through this. These are beautiful opportunities. You know, you can do small analysis and then, you know, make some beautiful entry opportunities here. Identify some beautiful entry opportunity like here. Now, this is a good opportunity. For someone who knows, would say that this is an opportunity for current price traders. To this point, if you want to take that percentage, it will be okay. Though you can confirm it in a lower time frame. But then that is it. Through this, you can tell because this is another mini support. So you drop your coil drop from the entry point to this other line, this one here, to this other point. That is the margin call drop. So measure from entry point to this to establish your first margin call drop. Then now see how you to distribute the margin call drops on this other distance here, just in case the price decides to go down to come and retest this support before it can go up. So some of the things you do, you have to do it in advance, but that is not what we are supposed to do. That's not what we are doing today. I was just trying to show you why it is very important to prepare early. But I want to look out for, I want to see that, we want to draw that on a horizontal or on a downtrend. So let's assume I'll use one here, then I use a live one. I'll first try, I'll base on this movement, and then maybe I can see how to identify a downtrend, a mini downtrend here. Okay, how I can draw this here. So let's do this. So in this case, if you can look at this chart, we can tell that this is a downtrend, first of all, right? Because we can see that the price is having a progressive drop after breaking structure several. Okay, so let's just do this. We can see that there is a, sorry. You can see that there is a break of structure here. Yeah, this is the first break of structure. There's a second break of structure here. Yeah. Sorry. This is a second break of structure. There's a third break of structure. So we can see there's a progressive break of structure. This is another break of structure. See this? So we can draw this several, but then that's just to give you an insight that if you are to capture this movement, you realize that we had this, for example, then we had that, then we had, there was a moment of some double retracement. I think that momentum was not built so well to cause a break of structure, but then finally we had this break of structure, then we had a retracement, then we had a continuous break of structure to this point. Yeah, it was, then we had that retracement, then we had this. We could even have that. Then there was a retracement. So we can tell that there's a progressive break of structure, yeah? If you can tell. So this one qualifies this to be a downtrend. That's the first instance. Then two, we are going to identify our lower highs, which in this case, we look out for the peaks in the process of the retracement. So to identify the peak in the process of the retracement, we may don't have to identify all, just let's identify some of the key. In this case, we can pick one, we can pick two, and then maybe we can pick three. That is enough for us to draw our, I think it is good for us to draw our resistance line, okay? So we shall connect this three, and then we just extend it to the future. So if we had done that, and we connected it to the future, let's just pick this, put it there, and then let's try to connect. Let's just connect the peak. So let's just do this there. Yeah, do you see that? Okay. There we have drawn. We've drawn our. I hope you guys can see. Can you guys see? I hope my network was not interrupted. Okay, can we see that? Can we see that? Okay. All right. Then that's okay. So if you can see that, that's how you draw this. So we just extend it to the future. We don't. This one we're doing because the trend has already been established. Yeah. But if we had found when it hadn't been established, we would just draw and extend it to the future like we have done. Yeah. Just do this, extend it to the future. Don't worry. Okay. So there we would have drawn our resistance line. Okay. Our work is just to monitor how the price will be reacting upon approaching this trend line. Okay. Now, when there comes a point where the price, opens from below this trend line and close above, then there's another confirmation that happens. Then we shall qualify that this is a breakout. Like in this case, let me see. A typical. Let's check here. Do you see this? Let's look at this point. Let's look at this point. Let's just concentrate on this point. If I can magnify this, this is, I think, what I was explaining. For as long as you've drawn this line very well, okay, it has really touched the tip of, this is our lower high. That is the key lower high we have identified, and it really touches on that peak. It has to touch on the peak of the week, yeah? If there's a candle, it has to really touch the tip. So if you've drawn that very well and extended the line to the future, this is what we call, this is a scenario of a breakout. Okay? That you see that there's a green candle that has opened below the line, okay, and closed above. If you can see this. Do you see that? This is the green candle that opened below the line and closed. Because it is a green, the close is above, right? I know you know this now. But the close of a green candle is always above. The open is always below. So it opened from here and closed above. Then there was another candle that opened from above, dipped slightly below, but later closed above the line. Then what happened next? There was now a serious rise. That was a good one. Then there was a retracement in an attempt to come and retest. Though it just came close, but it was good to go. It was good to tell us that we are now away from that trend line. We are no longer going to obey. The market price was no longer ready to obey that trend line. It is now out of the trend line. Now with this, as I said, two scenarios can happen. You may have some moment of a movement like this, but above, this, if it were a channel, we would be now out of this channel, right? So we may have a moment of a trade happening above the channel before we can see a clear reversal, or we may just have a direct movement like this, then we have a retracement, and then we have that kind of movement. That is what happens. But the clear sign of a true breakout is what we have experienced here. Okay? If it were a fake breakout, this would close above, but the red candle would open above and close below. That one is a fake breakout. Okay? We would even confirm that further by the next candle building from below this and closing below this. That would be a fake breakout. A fake breakout, happens in that manner. The candle opens from below the line, closes above. The next one that opens above, come and closes below the line. That is a fake one. So you cannot use it for entry. Yeah. Okay. So that is, we have drawn a trend line in a downtrend. The next movement, the next thing, if you wanted to draw, for example, you would draw what we call the channel. Then this time we would just pick a trend line and connect any 2 or 3 key lower lows. So I can pick this and that. I can decide to pick this and that. It is okay. Or I can just pick this one here and that one. Okay. Then I just extend it. I can decide to just extend it there. Okay, then I extend this to the future. Now this one, which went so much below, maybe because of some dumping effect or some news, I will not care about it so much. I want to just capture the major one. Okay, this is a characteristic of market manipulation, either resulting from a news, from some sentiment. That's why. But on a normal market situation, you shouldn't be having this kind of serious dump. But the beauty about this normally is when there is a sentiment that has affected the market in a certain way, the market does not take long before it corrects. Like this, if it dumps so much, be rest assured that the market is going to correct by 50% immediately. And when it pumps so much, expect the market to correct around, those market correction level, 50, 60, 30, around that. At least it normalizes, it corrects itself to normalize, yeah? It doesn't just continue like the way it would continue for a coin that is going to be delisted. It can dump and dump and dump. But for a normal market, once it dumps, it has to correct. Just like you see, it was a dump, then it was quick. It was quick to rise up, to stabilize the market. So that is it. So this is how it will look like. Now, sometimes when you're drawing this channel, when you use a trend line like this, sometimes it may disturb for you to identify some of those lower lows, yeah? Okay, so sometimes drawing this, using a free hand or the manual tool can make it difficult for some people, because if you want to establish a channel, just like I said, you need to first of all draw the resistance line by connecting lower highs, and then later draw the support line to connect the lower lows. But now the best way of doing that, if you don't want to stress yourself so much by drawing it manually, is you use what we call the channel. There is a tool, there's a drawing tool here. When you come to the drawing tool, there's a drawing tool here called parallel channel. I don't know whether we can see it. There's this, the parallel channel. There's this parallel channel. If you want to get it and put it on your favorite, you just come on the trend line, on the list of those drawing tools, you come to the trend line part, then you'll find it somewhere here. It's here. Okay, then you just put it on your favorite, and then you'll have it as one of your drawing tools that you can use often, because it can help you draw a channel on a downtrend and at the same time on an uptrend. Now here, the beauty about this parallel channel is that it even helps in capturing those mini price action points, between the support and the resistance. It helps in establishing those, there is a midway price action point, or price reaction points that may be in the middle, like here, this is the major one for us, and then this is the major one at the same time. But then we can have a mini price action point in between the resistance and the support, which is also, of course, a resistance and a support, depending on what point the price is. If it is below it, it is a resistance. If the price is above it, it becomes a support. So the beauty about the parallel channel is that it captures even the mid price action points. So let's try to use that and see. If we were to use the parallel channel, the most important thing here is we first of all connect the lower highs, right? Just let's connect the lower highs like we did. Connect that, and then to that, like that. Extend it to the future. Then once we tap our screen, it is going to bring these 3 points. The three, there's this, then there's the square, and then there's another cycle. So you're going to touch, we're going to use this middle part, which is like a square. Just going to tap on it and then drag it downwards. By doing that, of course, you would have already identified where you want to go and, release your support, okay? You would have already identified your major lower low. So by dragging this, you will come and release it on the lower low, right? So let's try to do that. If you've decided to use this, okay, and that, you will drag it and release it there. If you have decided to capture this one, which has resulted from the dump, you can as well drag it and then you allow it, touch there. Okay, so let's try both scenarios. So here, what you're going to do, you're going to just drag it down. Sorry, drag it down like that. See? That's the first instance, you see? There, you would have used this as the major, as your major. You see, when you're doing this thing, just like I said, just be objective. Know what you want and what you want to do. Don't be taken up by now, this one is now not touched here. Now look at this one here, the leg is outside. No, just be objective. Identify the key point you want your line to touch. And then based on your analysis on the area you have demarcated, because that will be your area of demarcation. That's all. It's just like when you're going to do a quadrant sampling. A quadrant sample, you draw a quadrant. You demarcate your area where you're going to do the sampling. You don't do sampling outside the quadrant, So that is the same thing here. Because your intention is you want to analyze based on what you have demarcated. You want to analyze price action in the area you've demarcated, how it will fare in the future. So just do that. Don't worry about this one not touching, this one is out. No. Here, it has touched. Here, it has touched. So for you, it is okay at this point. So you have only identified those ones. Anything that falls below is none of your business. Anything that falls before the line, it is okay. But you just want to see how is it going to react within the area of demarcated. So that's it. So if that's the area you've chosen, that's how it will look like. That's how the channel will look like. Okay? If you had decided to take this other one here, you would just drag this, you just drag this like this, and then it touches there. That means in this case, what you have done is you've identified this. You've picked this and that as your major lower low. So the rest of the line is going to fall in automatically, like that, okay? It is okay. If you wanted to use this other one, you still drag it there. Now, if you use the lower one, any point that you choose, just be rest assured that you will be having an establishment of a mini support or resistance in the middle. So this one will act as your major resistance, and then this one will be your major support. But then we have this dotted line in the middle. This one also helps you to capture those mini support and resistance. Now, why support? If the price comes to this dotted line and then it reacts by having that, reversal, it means that this was a support. Okay. If you can see this, the price has been reacting to this dotted line. You see also? It reacted at this point by supporting the price. It reacted at this point by supporting the price. It reacted at this point by supporting the price. It was only here, that it was broken below, and then finally the price had to come back above it and break above it quickly to maintain the movement within the upper area only. So that is like a mini channel as well. It is a mini channel of itself. Okay, there's a major one, which is this and this, then there's a mini one. So two minis. There's a mini which is running below and a mini which is running above. All the same, all gives you a very, very, very good information with regards to decision making. Because still, you will use them for trading. Now, when do you trade this? You trade, if you're going to have this, you're going to trade like this. If the market price drops to this support, okay, a support is successful if the candle comes and touches it, and then a bullish candle begins building up from there. And then, at least you must have. Now, my strategy is how I identify support. Now, what I'm doing is telling you my strategy, what I use for identifying a support. I support a successful support. That a candle comes, okay, and the red candle touches on the support, right? And then a green candle opens up from that point, all right, and close still above the support. It doesn't have to close below. Or a green candle must form there, two successive, a first one, and then the second one, which will help you confirm that that trend is, there's an attempt to retrace. Okay, it must at least have two candles, okay, that are progressively having this kind of a movement, of the support, a movement of the support, a movement that indicates a move away from the support, like we're seeing here. Okay, the red candle came, and then there was a green. That's okay for me. That's the strategy I use for identifying the support. The same thing here. If you can look at this point, okay. Yes, try to reduce this. Okay, so any point you're going to enter from, you have to enter at any point near the support. Any point can be exactly at that point or somewhere above. That means the price has really moved away from your support, the anticipated support. So the price was supported successfully, so you can enter at any point there, then take profit, take measurement from any point of entry, can be here, and then use this point, this line you have drawn as your resistance. So you can take to that resistance, or you can take to a point 3/4. Normally we advise 3/4 because you're not very sure whether the price will reach the resistance. Sometimes it stops midway and then goes down. So you're not very sure. So taking 3/4 is very safe, okay? Or even a half, okay? Taking 3/4 or a half is okay, all right? So that is what happens. So you enter at that point, take your profit 3/4. So you're using the resistance as your guide, as simple as that. So anything in that helps you identify entry opportunities, okay? Just like it happened here, there was an entry opportunity here. We're taking this. If you entered from any point here, you would only be looking at this as your resistance. You will not assume that the price is going to break back there. I mean, break out and then go back to the resistance. You will not assume that. You're only interested in using the trend line as your guide to your entry and exit. Anything about that, you don't assume, okay? Not until it happens, that's when you will now say, okay, I think I can re-enter again. But if you had entered at any point here, take profit 3/4, okay? Don't assume that it's going to break. But if it does break, then you enter from any point, use again this as your guide. Don't take anything above that, okay? But if a breakout happens above, then you can enter again like that. Just use this as a guide, okay? Now, we have drawn this, okay? We have drawn this. That's how you draw this parallel channel in a downtrend or how you draw your trend, this trend line on a downtrend. And that's how you also identify entry opportunity. But now I've drawn it in the 1 hour time frame. I prefer going to the 15 minutes. If I've done that, you go to the 15 minutes to identify earlier trade entry opportunities. And that's where I'm going to stop for today. Where is it? All right, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Too small. So we see this. In the bigger channel, we can also have mini channels. If we're going to use this as a trading strategy, you should also know that in the smaller time frame that you're going to enter, that you're going to identify entry opportunities in, you may also have mini channels. You see this mini channel that we would establish as well there. If you're interested in trading in a downtrend, so that is that. But normally what I do, let me show you what I do. What I normally do is this. Simple, eh? I always do this. Let me go back to the higher time frame. Let me now show you what I do normally to trade the downtrend. Now, any point that the candle will touch on my trend line, I will draw a horizontal line. My strategy, any point that the candle touches, any point that the candle touches on the trend line, I draw a horizontal line. This is what I mean. Let me first remove my color line. Let me show you what I do. You see this point? You see this? You see this? Yeah? See this point here? This point? This point? I draw a horizontal line. I draw another trend line. Let me just show you. I do this. I put there. Tap. I pick this. I draw this as well. I pick this. I also put there. I just identify those key ones. You see that? Just pick that. Now somebody will then say, now this is complicated. Yeah, sometimes that's what we go through to give these signals. If you really want a good winning signal. But you can, if you have a shortcut, that's okay. If there's another shortcut, but this, if you want to do real price action, that's what you do. But if you want a simplified one, then that makes it easier for you. Yeah, that's when you incorporate the aspect of the indicators. Sometimes indicators makes it simpler, but it is important for you to also know this. So that's how you do. So now, if you've drawn this horizontal line like this, okay, you draw this horizontal line like this. At any point that the price touches on your channel, like this is one, it has touched. This it has touched on this, dotted line. It is also a channel, right? It is a trend line. Sorry. You realize that after drawing this, the price reacted at that point as well. So it qualifies that to be a good point. Here, you have drawn this as well. The price drop, tap, to drop. The price will be respecting that severally. Now, if you have done that, okay, if you've done that, that's when you go to the lower time frame now to identify some of those trade entry opportunities. Let's go to a lower time frame. So use that. Just use the horizontal. Within the channel, you'll be having the horizontal line to guide you. Okay? You'll be having the horizontal line to guide you. As simple as that. Sorry, let's go down here. Here we are. Okay. This is our channel. So use this to guide you. Yeah, use this to guide. You see this? You know that this is your support, both diagonally on a downtrend and also horizontally. Then you also know that this is your resistance. Resistance. Both on a downtrend and that. This is your support, both on a downtrend and also horizontal. It's what we call an area of confluence or a point of confluence. Okay? This one here. A. It is an area of confluence. So that means if the market price support, if the price is supported very well here, that means I'm good to take profit. However zigzag or volatile the market may seem, slowly it will rise to my resistance. But because I want to be safe, I take 3/4. Ladies and gentlemen, this strategy works. If you've never tried this, try it out and see. It's one of the amazing strategies. You know that. The next thing here is, you see here, you again identify a point where the price has touched on your horizontal line. I mean, on the support line, which can be here. Just identify a point where the price has touched the support. In this case, we have this as a support, this as a support. This is our resistance, right? This is the first support. This is the second support. Provided the price is trading above it, becomes a support 1 and 2. If the price breaks below it and it ceases to be a support, this one will change to resistance and this one remains as a support. Now, you only have to identify where the price comes to the support. That is an area where you will be looking out for entry opportunity. Anything other than that, don't enter, please. Because remember, we're in a downtrend, okay? But as the market is going down, we only want to identify those entry opportunities, okay? And it is not a must that you have to trade a downtrend. But if opportunity presents itself, you need to trade. And that is what I am only showing you, that you have to only trade when the price touches on a support, okay? And it reverses and it is in an attempt to retrace. That's when you enter. If it doesn't happen like that, don't trade. Don't force it, please. That's what I'm only emphasizing. Like in this case, why we are entering, because it is a point of confluence where, on our diagonal support and horizontal support, it is a common point where the price was supported. So it is on the verge of a retracement. There we can enter, okay? Anything other than that, don't do. Okay. The next thing you have to look out for is another opportunity where the price is supported, like here. Okay. Like here. This is another opportunity. This area here. At least if you draw your horizontal line, because it is a point that here can be another horizontal line. You can draw it there. You know that this is a line or an area of support, because we said it doesn't necessarily mean a line, it can be an area. So as long as, it's a common point, becomes an area. So this can be an area of support. So because it is an area of support, the price came and now it reversed from that point. So we're going to use this as our support, support point. We enter from any point there and we use this as our guide to identify our exit point. So you enter there, measure any percentage, from any entry point, please, any. From there, take 3/4, but this would be the maximum you can take, meaning this should be your guide, okay? It should be your guide. See that? Like the point of retest after the breakout. That was the point of retest, isn't it? If you can check there. If you were to draw a horizontal line, it will also be your, it will serve as your resistance. You see that it is a resistance, okay? So just only enter. If you find that it is not clear, it's not making sense, the price has not touched on any of the support, relax. But it will be worthwhile drawing this trend line to monitor through this, to identify those entry opportunity, or at least points where you can do manual replenishment, or you can be opening up those margin call drops. Yes, it is true. Sometimes we give a general settings that, okay, open up with this margin call drop, open maybe up to 10, increase to 20. You just increase values, without knowing how it should be, how that is coming about. But sometimes to be precise and be intentional, You do this, you can be doing this. Okay, because for example, if you see that, let's say the robot had already bought, let's say when the price dropped, sorry. Let me just give an example here. Okay, we'll remove this. Let's assume that the robot, after the market price dropping to this level, right? The robot bought, isn't it? Now, and it is sold when the price rose by whatever percentage that was. Okay? Now, you're going to be measuring this percentage. Okay? That will be the margin call, right? That means the next buying will happen here. But in case it doesn't sell and it drops to the next point, you know that if case the market price breaks below, this is the possible support point, isn't it? So you are able to establish the margin call up at that point and at that point, so that in case it comes and breaks below, the next buying it is going to make here in an attempt to retrace, it is going to be giving you profit. Okay? But to simplify, sometimes to make the business appear simple to people, we just say, okay, open 5 margin call. Give it up to 10%. You know? After assessing the market that is the possible drop percentage that may happen, you just say, okay, open 5 margin call drops. Give it 10%, give it 4%, you know? So it is upon you to distribute the 10% within the number of call margins that you are told to open. It is you to distribute depending on the number of the percentage drop that was given. So it is you to see how are you going to allocate which percentage to which call to which price level that the robot is buying. So it's just entirely up to you. But the bigger view is that is normally what happens. That's the picture we tend to paint to help us have an understanding of the market. Because at least if you're able to draw this, extend it to the future, you'll be in position to tell when the market is on a downtrend. Okay? Okay. Anything else? Is that clear? Is that clear for everyone? Okay. Yeah, so that is, if it is very clear, that is at least okay. That means tomorrow we shall look at our uptrend. Shall look at how to draw this on an uptrend, and also how we can be making those entry opportunities. How we can be making those entry and exit based on the channel we've drawn. And then when we're through with that, I think maybe the next thing, okay, tomorrow still, I may give you the simplest tip of how you can establish those margin call drops. At least there are coins that have specific patterns of movement that possibly if you master or if you have a picture on their patterns of movement and the drops that they make most of the times after certain movement, you will be in position to be establishing those margin call drops accordingly. Yeah. But so it's something that we may talk about tomorrow, so that yeah, we are all around at least. Much as some of you will be depending on the signal, but there's more into that. We are doing this in preparation to what may most likely happen after the bull run, because trust me, whether you like it or not, the bull run is going to come. Once the bull run comes, we shall have a moment of downward movement for all the coins. 2026, 2027, maybe we may have the peak of a bearish market. So if you didn't have this in mind, if you didn't know what to do, if you have not, you didn't have some little skills with regards to how the market fares, then most of us are going to quit the business. Yet it is not good to quit a business that at one point did good to you. Yeah, you have to be resilient. You need to persist. You need to be devising strategy, just like we did for some of us who stood the test of the bearish season. That happened, sometimes back. We experienced the bullish, then we were affected in the bearish season, then forced to devise strategy to help the community, the growing community of crypto ambassadors. And here we are. Now we have a system that can cater for any market condition. And if you're not part of the system, or you're not part of the group or community, then it's unfortunate, because we have great leaders here that normally gives us a lot of tips, a lot of information, to help us. And when you do it, because when you grow as a community, we really grow strong, other than, individual benefit. So we do this sometimes just to make sure that we keep winning. We keep winning, because the beauty about this business is whether you tell a friend or not, if you know how to trade, you make money. But because you want more and extra money, you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And when the friends come, you need to show them the way. And that's what we normally do. That's why we go extra mile to share some of this information generally. Yeah. So that is it. Okay. I think, Leader Julius, are you around? I don't know whether he's around. Okay. I think for today we may stop there. Unless if you have something to say, please be welcome.
Thank you so much for today. I may not add in. I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. The learning is in the doing. So where the business starts is that after the call, you go onto your trading view. You try to remind yourself that Coach Musa talked about drawing these lines. Let me try and see. Then tomorrow you come back and say, what I went through yesterday was not clear because when I tried it, things didn't work out for you. Then you will need to be helped. So the learning is in the works, is in the doing. Okay? If you don't do, it's like pouring water on a stone. So you must make sure that you are doing, because the learning is in the doing. Thank you so much, Coach Musa. Really appreciate. I wish to see everybody tomorrow. See you on the next call.
All right. Bye-bye.
On how to set signals.